Okay, we're getting this broadcast started. I had to reboot the Video Pro, got an error message and rebooted it. So hopefully we'll be broadcasting here. Let me just double check, make sure everything's the way it should be. Testing 1, 2. See, I don't hear any audio here. Why am I not hearing audio? All right, there it is. Okay, so there's some audio. All right, so this is an emergency broadcast. This was scheduled on very short notice, and this is in response to a comment on one of my videos. And I was going to clean up the Grand Seiko diver a little bit, but I didn't have time. I was kind of rushing to get this done, and so it is what it is. It's been in dusty environments the last week or so. It's been beat around quite a bit, which is normal for my watches, and it is still looking stunning. And so what we have today is we have a stupid comment that I'm going to address, and then we're going to talk again about this whole Rolex versus Grand Seiko thing that seems to really bother a bunch of folks. Some of these folks seem to take a little bit of this way too serious. But anyway, we're going to talk about it. That's what we do here on the show, is we talk about it and we sort these things out. Kevin's in the house, and Durf's in the house, emergency broadcast. That's right. That's what we got going on. Now, but first, I do want to mention something. I am a real proponent of, a fan of buying things when you don't need them and selling things when they're not for sale, when you're not interested in selling them. Let me go in here to bids and offers here, and I'm going to give you a couple of examples here. Okay? I don't need any more shirts, any more dress shirts, or sport type shirts like the one I'm wearing now. I need it like I need a hole in the head. I mean, I've literally got 100 dress shirts minimum, and I don't know how many of these kinds of shirts, probably at least 100 of these too. I got a lifetime supply, right? So I don't need any more shirts, but I have saved searches on eBay, and one of the saved searches I have is Gitman Brothers 16 by 33, 16 neck, 33 sleeve length, Gitman Brothers, made in USA shirts. I just have that as a saved search on eBay, just in case something gets listed that matches that criteria. I get a notification, and if it's what I think is a really good buy, I can jump on it, right? And I have a bunch of saved searches like that. So a shirt popped on to eBay, a really nice Gitman Brothers shirt, and I offered the guy $20. It was $20 shipped, including shipping, which I think is a good buy. These shirts are at least $100 anywhere. And for $20, you probably get a real lousy shirt at Walmart, right? So anyway, let me grab the shirt here. So the gentleman shipped it to me, and it only took a couple of days. It's wrinkled. It needs to go to be laundered and pressed, starched and pressed. But it's a Gitman Brothers, made in USA. This is like an Oxford cloth, really nice. It's not a pinpoint Oxford. I think this is a standard Oxford, which I kind of like as a change of pace. Most of my Oxford shirts are pinpoint Oxford. This is a button-down collar. Everything is in mint condition as he represented it as being. It looks like it's never been worn. It looks like it was a gift to somebody, and then that went in their closet or wherever, and they just never used it for anything. But this is a high-end Gitman Brothers shirt. It's the real deal, made in United States of America. $20. So I don't need it, didn't need it, I'll use it, I guess. I like this color, by the way, this like kind of pale yellow color, and it's a little more yellow in person than it looks on this because it's a little bit overexposed right now, but for versatility, you can't beat this color. Well, that's Audrey sending a text message. But anyway, you can't beat this color, this or light blue or white. Those three colors in rotation are just fantastic. This is a very versatile color. Let me just see what Audrey is saying. 1 second. I don't think it's urgent, but I just want to check I have a, she's one of the few people that I actually have a ringtone for when she sends me a text message. Okay, she says everything's fine, so that's not pressing. So, so anyway, that's just an example. So what I'm saying is, it's a good concept for you guys to think about, and gals that might be watching, is if you buy something when you don't need it, right? You're going for a deal, right? You don't need it. You're not pressed, right? And somebody's offering something for sale, you can make a low offer and then see what happens. And if you get it, fine. If you don't get it, that's fine too, because you don't really need it, right? So that's the best time to buy something, is when you don't really need it. Get a buy, right? When you're selling something, like I've had people ask me about a watch I have, that the Grand Seiko Stunner is a perfect example. The 18 karat gold dress watch I had. A viewer asked if he could buy it. And I gave him a price, which was a fair price. I made a little bit of a profit. And he was tickled pink to have the watch. So it was a very quick, easy deal. He wired me the money. I sent him the watch. So that was a perfect example of, I wasn't looking to sell the watch, but you know, I got a good amount of money. I didn't have to pay any commission to anybody for selling it. Like if you sell it on eBay, you got to pay a cut, right? All that. Or if you put it on Chrono 24 or whatever, you got to pay a cut. This was no cut. So it was a perfect situation for selling something, because I didn't need to sell it. And the deal just kind of fell in my lap. I had another subscriber that asked me about this diver, and I almost sold it to him, but then he ended up buying a new one from an AD, and so it didn't happen. But again, I would have sold this, and I would have gotten a decent deal. He would have gotten a decent deal. Everybody would have been good, and it wasn't for sale at the time. So that's the best time to sell something, is when it's not for sale. The best time to buy something is when you don't need the item. Let me give you another example. I need another tripod, like I need a freaking hole in the head, right? Like I need a hole in the head. I need another tripod. But this one popped up on eBay, and please don't bid against me. If you guys want a real nice tripod, please don't bid against me. I'm the one bidder right now on this really right stuff, TQC 14 tripod with the BH30 head. That's a really nice, that's probably the best travel tripod you can buy. It's just fantastic. It's very compact, very sturdy, extremely well made. So I put a bid in at $700. The opening bid is $695. And this particular tripod would be, with that ball head, would probably be around $1,300 new, $1,400-ish new. So about double this price. And it's, you know, represented as being in like mint condition. So I may not get it. Somebody else might outbid me, and then I'll just let it go. I don't need the tripod, right? I've got enough tripods. It's just, I'm going to try to snag this. If I can snag it for a good price, then I don't mind snagging it. And so that's a good position to be in, where you don't really need the item, but hey, if you can snag it for a good price, you snag it. So this, let's see, no notification on your broadcast, RWAGs. Yeah, the notifications are definitely sketchy. That's a shame that YouTube does not have their act together on that. But okay, so let me read through these comments real quick here. Why do you have live videos just before bedtime? Oh, I'm sorry about that. What about a Rolex shirt versus a Grand Seiko shirt? There you go. That Kitman Brothers shirt makes me crave banana pudding. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Outbidding Mr. Chip on that tripod now. Well, you might end up with it. I'm not going to bid again. I'm going to let my bid stand. Putting a bid in for 701. I'll tell you, they're great tripods. And if one of my subscribers gets it, I'll be happy for you. They really are great tripods. Let's see here. Okay, so let's get on to the stupid comments. stupid comment. Well, comments, because there's two comments from the same guy. So obviously a Rolex Submariner guy. Guy loves him some Rolex Submariners, and I don't blame him. Rolex Submariner's a fantastic watch. I'm not a fan of the super case, so I think I would pass on the current generation of it because I'm just not a fan of that super case. But let's go to his comment. So, two pieces here, and this is Russell Denny. He said, this entire channel has just become a collecting bin of folks that can't buy a Rolex due to cost and or not having a good AD connection and need to fill a void in their life. LOL. Okay, so there we go. And then he added, this is the second comment addressed to me, CraigShipp, and he says, Watchfinder and Company did a side-by-side review, and they disagree. GS is a good watch, but Rolex is superior in nearly every material aspect, and I like GS, that he adds. The Rolex has a better resale, deeper depth rating, platinum-filled bezel versus cheaper enamel, machine clasp versus stamped on the GS, white gold on the hour markers, the list goes on and on. GS is a wonderful watch, but trying to say it's superior to the Submariner is just wishful thinking. Looking into the future, new Rolex mechanical movements are rated to the same accuracy as GS spring drive, 2 seconds a day, something Rolex has accomplished in a purely mechanical watch without the need for quartz. Yes, you can get 2 GS potentially for the cost of 1 Submariner and lose money on both. Oh, and the Rolex looks better. All right, so my reply to that comment. There are a lot of so-called experts who weigh in with their findings without really experiencing the watches. I will go through your points. Number 1, resale is not an issue. Watches are not investments. Number 2, deeper depth rating not an issue for 99.9% of users. Number 3, platinum-filled bezel versus cheap enamel. My bezel works fine and it's easier to replace if ever needed. And of course, it's not going to shatter if you hit it on a rock, right? Number 4, the machined clasp works great in everyday use. Number 5, my spring drive is +1 second after 5 months. Rolex can't even come close. And I wrap up by sorry, the SBGA 231 is far superior for daily use, and that's what I purchase a watch for, actual use. So here's the thing. You know, a lot of this comes down to what you want, what watch you really want. If you really want a Rolex, go and buy it. But here's the thing. For me, I wanted maximum legibility. The reason I sold my Date 8, my 18238, is because I couldn't read it any longer without having my reading glasses on. And I, a lot of times, do not wear my reading glasses. This watch is extremely legible, okay? One of the reasons it's so legible is it is a 44 millimeter watch. Yes, it's a bigger watch than the Rolex. And if you have a small wrist, I wouldn't recommend it. But for my wrist, I think it looks fine. You guys let me know in the chat if you think this looks good on my wrist. Okay? I think it looks great. All right, so here's the thing. This dial is about the same size dial as you would have on, for example, a Date 840. And I measured this, or a Snowflake, a Grand Seiko Snowflake, which is a 41 mil watch, right? This dial is about that size that you would have on those watches. On a Submariner, a 40 mil Submariner, because of the bezel, the actual dial that you end up with is about the size of a 36 mil Datejust. It's not that big, the dial on those watches. So for maximum legibility, for me, I like the bigger watch, right? Okay, now, add into the equation the fact that this one is titanium. It's substantially more comfortable on wrist because of the titanium. So it's like I have a 43 mil watch, but it's a freebie. It's like it wears more like a 40. Okay? Or, I mean, it probably wears more like a 36. I mean, it wears extremely comfortably. as far as the weight and comfort on wrist. Now the size, again, for some people that's going to be an issue if you have a small wrist, right? But I don't have a small wrist. So, and these other points as far as accuracy, not even a close call. And as far as the depth that you can dive, we already proved with the accuracy that Grand Seiko underpromises and overdelivers. I'll bet you that this watch could go deeper than 200 meters. I bet you they rated it at 200 meters, but it would probably go deeper. But who in the heck needs to go 100 meters? Okay, so I would just as soon have this thing rated at 100 meters and be a little thinner. It'd be okay with me, right? So, you know, again, if you don't actually wear and use the watch, like as far as the clasp goes, that's another perfect example. In actual use, this clasp is fantastic. It's very easy to extend, very easy to take it on and off. It functions extremely well. The Rolex, you know, sometimes it's a little bit hard to reach the clasp and take it loose. This one's very easy because the way it's designed, it's all very easy to use. And we talked about this before, because of the way the bracelet's designed with the pin and collar system, it's extremely flexible because the pins float in there. They're not fixed like you would have with a screw going through and screwed into the end link. It's fixed, right? If you have a fixed screw and you're pivoting on that screw, it's not going to be as flexible as if you have a floating pin, right? So all of these design elements go to making a better watch for daily use. It's just like a Lexus sedan, an LS, what is it, 460 now? What's the newest one? LS 500 or whatever it is. Anyway, I lose track. But like an LS sedan compared to like a BMW sedan or a Mercedes sedan or whatever, you know, it's just much better, the Lexus. But you have to really use it and drive it and own it for a while to really understand how much better they are. And so, and I'm not saying that Rolex are unreliable like a Mercedes, BMW, or whatever, but I'm just saying that there's little details that you discover from actually using an item. And, you know, these folks that do these reviews and side-by-sides and all that, 9 times out of 10, they didn't actually wear the watch for a year. They didn't actually experience it. They don't know what the heck it's doing. And also, on most of them, they're not even using the 231 as a comparison. They're using the 229, the stainless steel version. They're not even using the better watch as the comparison. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of problems with this comment. And for most people, I think this watch is fantastic, fantastic choice. And we already talked about how you could take the extra $5,000 and invest it and turn it into a lot of money. We'll talk about investments too. R. Wags is in the house, so he can help us address that. By the way, I bought the Apple stock back. I bought the Apple stock back. Oh, boy. I thought there was going to be a bigger sell-off because of that attack on the oil wells and all that. I thought there was going to be a bigger sell-off today than there was. I turned everything into cash on Thursday of last week, and I was ready for a big sell-off, and I was going to buy some stuff back. I bought the Apple stock back about, I don't know, $6 cheaper than I sold it for. So I did okay there, but Craig, any comments on a GM strike? Yeah, who cares about GM? No, I don't have any comments on the GM strike. I think they should fire them and just hire non-union workers is what they should do. I always check for local deals and always buy stuff that I don't need until I need them. There you go. After the scheduled content, I have 2 car-related questions. There we go. Super case. We got a down thumb for the super case. Well, our Wags has a 1807 date 8. He has a bark finished date 8. So of course he's got a real nice case on that. And I think the older date 8s are nicer all around. I really think the 18238 was the last of the really, really nice looking date 8s with the brushed and polished surfaces. I just think it looks a little classier. than the one that's all polished on the top and the sides of the lugs. But the newest ones, of course, have the ceramic sleeves, and that's good. But of course, with the solid links and all that, the whole thing's heavier, so there's trade-offs on all of this stuff, folks. Trade-offs. Heavier doesn't necessarily mean more comfortable on wrist. It could mean the opposite. Okay, want to know how comfortable the Rolex Daytona is? Consult that soft fiber pillow cushion in the bank safe it sits on. Looks good on your wrist. Okay, so Fat Panda says it looks good on my wrist. 2 problems. Spring drivers are too thick and the clasp. How does it look? Does it look too thick? I'm going to give you a lot of views of it here. Does this one look too thick? Let me know in the chat what you guys think. I think it looks pretty good because of the lug design and the case design and all. Even though it's 14 mils, I think it looks pretty good. I'm trying to give you every angle I can think of here for you guys to make an informed decision. Okay. On that, I think it looks fine. It wouldn't be an all-arounder. You wouldn't use this as an all-arounder. It's definitely a straight-up sport watch. You wouldn't want to wear this in a dress situation. Let's see here. Most watch reviewers barely wear the watch they review and always pass a predetermined result, which is generally what people want to hear, so they like the video and comment sad truth. There you go. Yeah, they want to perpetuate the status quo. Yeah. I couldn't believe how light the 231 was when I picked it up for the first time. A watch that size being that light really messes with your mind. And here's the thing, it is kind of top heavy. You know, there's a lot of the weight is in this case and all that. And so it is a big advantage that it is that light, because if this was the stainless steel version, it would really be top heavy, I think. I think they got it right. It just rides on the wrist very, very nicely. Let's see. GS dive clasp is almost twice as thick as the sub. Yeah, but I think it looks fine. Like I said, I mean, it balances the watch because the watch is kind of thick, and this is, you know, obviously it's designed for function, but I think it looks okay. I mean, you're looking at it right here, folks. Okay, this is it. It's on my wrist, and I think it works good and does the job. And the clasp doesn't get in the way. It doesn't like hook on things or anything like that in daily use. It works fine. And the functionality, I think, more than makes up for the fact that it's a little bit thicker. And by the way, the sub, the glide lock, it's real long. Okay? The whole mechanism is all real long, so it looks kind of funny, I think. So teach their own on that, but functionality-wise, this really does the job. Let's see here. LS500 is the current sedan, twin-turbo V6, and yes, it's a far better vehicle than the BMW 7 Series. Yeah, but see, I'd buy one of the older ones with the V8. I don't think I want the twin-turbo V6. I'd rather just buy the naturally aspirated V8 version and call it a day. Anyone who has owned a thick watch head or a thick, bulky clasp would agree with me. GS divers are great, but not better overall. No, I'm wearing it right now, and I don't agree with you. So I don't know about who else is anyone. Can't hold a candle to the new Mercedes S-Class. The S-Class is great until the warranty expires. Well, and even while it's in warranty, when you have to take it into the shop and they have to give you a loaner car and you have to go through all that foolishness, I mean, that's inconvenient. Let's see here. Craig, what size wrist would this watch fit best on, and the minimum size wrist in your opinion? My wrist is anywhere from 7.25 inches to 7.5, depending on the humidity and the heat and all that kind of stuff. So I would say about a 7-inch wrist minimum. I would not recommend this for anybody with a smaller than 7-inch wrist. I would get something like that for a smaller wrist, that GMT. It's 39.5 mils, and it's 12 mils thick. I'd get that GMT with the 9F movement for a smaller wrist if it were me. Let's see. You don't think I don't feel love when I feel for you is real love and others. Okay. Whatever all that means. Daytona is very comfortable. It's the same feeling as Explorer 39. Well, the Daytona has a beautiful case. It has about the same case as a Yachtmaster, right? Problem on the Daytona is legibility. Exactly. It's a busy dial. It's going to be hard to read it. Absolutely. Carlos, put your audit vehicle questions in the chat. Let's get to it. Let's do it. GS Titan Samuel Gray says, never meant to be love child. Take a look at me. I started my life in an old, cold, rundown slum. My father left. He never even married. Okay. Hey, my eyes aren't that great. Don't put a lot long epistles in here. Nothing against Rolex, but I prefer my Grand Seiko to a Rolex. That spring drive is smooth as glass and love the way it moves. Well, here's the thing. I was thinking the other day, I was going to do something or whatever, and I was looking at the watch to check the time and all, and it's so refreshing to know that this watch is just spot on and that I don't even have to think about it, that I just know it is spot on. And do I have to recalibrate it this month? No, I don't have to recalibrate it any month because it's going to be spot on month after month. That's a really comforting feeling, that you can just absolutely rely on it. So there's that. My uncle has owned an LS 400 for the last 22 years, and the only reason he doesn't daily it every day is he owns a newer LS. You can't beat that car for full-size luxury sedan ownership. Yeah, they're just fantastic. If you got a hold of an older LS 400, my first Lexus I had was the 1990, the first model year. I had a 1990 LS 400, and it was rare. It was maroon with the maroon leather interior, which you don't see very often. And it was a super nice car. And I sold it, and I got the LS 430, the 2002 LS 430, and that was a very nice car. You can't beat those with a stick. If you bought either one of those, any LS 400 or an LS 430, one owner, garage kept, low mileage, super nice car. You got one with like 50,000 miles on it or something. You'd have a car you could run indefinitely if you also kept it inside, took care of it. She test drives several of the segment: BMW X3, Audi Q2, Q3, Lexus UX, NX, but none calls to her. Her favorite would be the Evoque, but Mercedes GLC also calls her. And a 2020 model just arrived. Okay. I'm not familiar with the newer Mercedes and BMWs. I just would run the other direction. I would not buy one on a bet. I would absolutely buy a Lexus, and personally, I would buy an older Lexus. I don't like the design of some of the newer ones. I think some of them are a little bit ugly, including the new LS sedan. That front grille and all that. No, I would go back about 5 years or so, 10 years, and buy a mint condition one. But some people always want the newest, the latest and the newest. I get that. GS Quartz diver over spring drive. The GS Quartz divers, some of those are kind of cool looking. They really are, and they are thinner. Let's see. We ordered in March a custom Range Rover Evoque for my wife that should have arrived in June, but keeps delaying, and we're considering to cancel the order. The issue is that my wife really likes that. Again, that's one that you want to have in warranty for sure. You want to have that puppy in warranty. Tell you what, to avoid Land Rover like the Prague, they are horrible vehicles. Yeah, well, as long as she has it during the warranty period, then he gets rid of it after that, she might be okay. But just buy two so that she can have one to drive when the other one's in the shop. You might be okay on that. We might be too harsh on that. Okay, so to recap, I have no issues with somebody buying a Submariner if that's what they want and if that will meet their needs. And if they're going to try to push it into an all-arounder and wear it in dress-type circumstances and things like that, obviously it could be forced into that role easier than this watch can be. But again, the sub is not that thin. I think they're close to 13 mils now, thick. They've gotten thicker over the years. They used to be down around 12 years ago. They used to be nice and trim on the wrist. Of course, the GMT was always more trim. Maybe they were 12.5. But anyway, they're not that thin. And so you see a lot of people wearing them underneath a dress cuff, and they really look forced. They don't look like they really fit in that scenario. Yeah, if you've got to wear it in that type of a circumstance, I would go with a GMT. GMT is a little bit thinner. Okay. Let's see here. Drivers need to stop beating up on Japanese luxury cars. They are by far some of the most reliable. Try that with a Bentley after a few years. Let's see. Are Sony cameras, compact cameras, superior to Canon compact cameras for travel and point and shoots? I have the RX 100. I think that's the model. Yeah, I have the RX 100 Mark V, I think. It's pricey. The RX 100 is a pricey camera. If you want the best, though, compact point and shoot camera, I would definitely get the RX 100 and get the newest version. It's going to be around $1,200 or $1,300. That is the best, in my opinion, for a handheld point and shoot camera. Let's see here. And far superior to any Canon or anything. Yes, that is the best of the best when it comes to a really compact camera, a small camera. It's got the 1-inch sensor in it. It is a amazing camera. Let's see here. Even new Land Rovers go wrong, sometimes even within the first week of ownership. That's really sad. It's so sad that they have such a bad reputation. I'll tell you, I had a Range Rover, what year was it? 19, was when they first brought them into this country. The hell year was that? 1986? I want to say like around 1986, something like that. I had one, and I used it heavy duty off-road. I mean, abusive off-road, and it never gave trouble. It never failed. But I didn't have it that long. But it didn't give any trouble. I'll give it that. Let's see. I love the GS9F diver. The guy I spoke to who bought it did so online from Japan, just over $3,000 shipped. Yeah, some of those are pretty cool looking. I've seen them. They're pretty cool. And I think some of them are about 12 mils thick. But yeah. But this one, I mean, do you really need a diver? I mean, this one, I think, checks a lot of the boxes as far as, I think it's going to be a little bit more legible because the bezel on it is not as wide, so you got more dial for the size of the watch, right? You have more dial real estate. But the diver does have the more legible hands. The hands on this are extremely legible. And by the way, the hands on this are titanium, so they're never going to corrode. The indices, probably if you let water get in it or something like that, I don't know, maybe eventually you could get some corrosion on them. I don't know. I haven't seen any indication of anybody having any problem with that on these watches. So I think it's a non-issue to worry about. Let's see here. Do you think that Mercedes GLC would be better than a Range Rover Evoque. Both have 5-year warranty and free service for 5 years. I think both are going to be problematic, but I think the Mercedes will probably be a little better than the Range Rover, yeah. I would give the Mercedes a little bit of a nod on that. But, yeah, as long as you get rid of them after the 5 years, I think you're going to be good to go. They'll probably give you a loaner car when it has to go in for service. I'm just not into all that kind of stuff. I just like to buy something that I never have to go back to the dealer. I heard a podcast of them talking about Lexus and how great the dealers are, the dealer network, and how great service is and all that. And I'm thinking to myself, the last thing I want is service, is great service. Because if I have to take my car into the dealer for service, that means there's a problem with the car. Because I generally don't take them to the dealer just for oil changes and things like that, right? And so I don't want to have to bring my car to the dealer. I did bring my Prius to the dealer one time. There was a recall on a coolant pump that's part of the hybrid system, and it was a free repair. Well, it was a recall. It wasn't failing yet, but some of them were failing, and so they recalled it. So I did take it in. They replaced that part, and they gave me a loaner car for the day while I did it, and it was no cost. But that's the last thing I want to do is go back to the dealer. It's just not what I'm looking to do with a car. What I'm looking to do with a car is get in it and turn the key and go and not have any issues. Have 100% reliability. And that's what I generally get out of the Toyotas. So that's why I drive them. Let's see here. I would get the bluesy sub. If you're spending 10 grand on a watch, then make sure it has some gold in it. There you go. Mercedes is much better. Have experience with both. Okay. Nothing is more expensive than a 15-year-old Bentley Continental GT with 100,000 miles sold by a South Central Los Angeles used car dealer. There you go. Yeah, especially if it was a flood car. So there you go with that. What is the commercial margin on a car dealer on new cars? That's a good question these days. On those high-end cars, I would say they're working with at least 20 or 30%, would be my guess. But I don't, you'd have to kind of research and try to find out. There might be somewhere published the cost figures on some of those cars. Used to be you could get that information. Just about to hit the road in my Lexus ES. The first and only car I've owned, never let me down. There you go. That's the front drive version. Let's see here. Get the GLC over the Evoque or BMW all day long. Or you can purchase an Infiniti. Yeah, I don't think I'd do that. David's in the house. All right. Durr says hello to Dave. The song was from the 1960s. Yeah. I knew a woman who took her brand new 4-cylinder Mercedes C300 into a Chicago dealership for routine fluid change. 500 smackaroonies. Yeah. The problem is that Lexus UX is a nice size but low driver position, and she does not like that. NX does not call her. Did she look at the LX sedan? Again, I don't like the front end of the LX sedan that front end they put on them, but the LX has always been a fantastic car. If you could get over the looks of it. But yeah, she's got to get what she likes, because whatever she gets, if you get something, other than the Lexus, whatever she gets, she's probably going to have problems with it. So she might as well get what she likes if she's going to put up with all that. Let me think what else. I'm going to refresh this, make sure that we're caught up. Does my audio sound good? Is it low? Is the audio low, or is it at a good level? And by the way, if you guys are ever in a show with Steve and he's got audio issues, tell him in the chat so that he can run it down and figure out what's going on, because we want to try to get his production quality up a little bit. In Panama, we really prefer to use SUV. I'll tell you what, Carlos, you haven't thought about getting a Land Cruiser, a Toyota Land Cruiser? I mean, they are amazing vehicles. I mean, full stop. They're just amazing. And I would definitely get the Land Cruiser over the Lexus version because, again, they put that ugly grille on the Lexus one. So I would get straight up get the Toyota Land Cruiser. I mean, and it's a fantastic vehicle, I think. I think it is. In Madrid, she had a convertible Mini. Well, that wasn't an SUV. We read you 5x5, Craig. Well, there you go. Okay, good. It's good to know. Yeah, well, hopefully he can get the audio. Land Cruiser too big for her. But it's an SUV. But I'll tell you, it's a beast. It's a beast. No, I would get the Land Cruiser over the G-Wagon all day long. Absolutely, I'd get the Land Cruiser for all the reasons we talked about earlier. Just absolute reliability, just bulletproof reliable. That old tried and true V8 in that thing, that will run for decades. Lexus RX. Let's pull that one up. Lexus RX. Oh, yeah. Let me get some images up here. As soon as this loads in, I'll cut to it. Okay, yeah, see, they put that same ugly grill on the front of that. I mean, I guess it's okay. I guess it would grow on you. I don't know. It's just ugly. I mean, I bet you that Toyota has a version of that same vehicle that wouldn't have that ugly front end. I don't know. I guess some people like it. But no, I would pass. I would pass on that. The RX is too big also. I don't know what to tell you. If you want to get an SUV, aren't all of them kind of big? And the problem is if you get a really small one, that it's going to have a short wheelbase and it's going to ride like a truck. I mean, no, I don't know. I would kind of, what the heck? Let her get what she wants. You got what you want. You got a Date 8 and a Patek Philippe. Let her get what she wants. Oh, boy. First world problems down in Panama. That's what we got going on. First world problems. And there's the GS. And it, as you watch that second hand go around. And watch how it's going to start lining up with those hash marks later on. Not now, but when it starts getting down towards the 25-second mark, watch how it's going to start lining up like magic. It's going to be magic, folks. Watch when it gets down to 25 seconds. Look at that. Look at that. It gets real close to the hash mark, and then it starts going the other way to the other side. So that's the parallax, right? So there you go. Yeah, Toyota RAV4. See, that's the problem with those shorter wheelbase ones, David, is they don't ride that great. I had for years, I pulled a Honda, what's their little one? A Honda, now I can't remember the model. But anyway, their little SUV. I pulled it behind the bus because it was flat towable. It was actually Masha's car, and I flat towed it behind the bus because my Toyotas, and you can't flat tow them. So the Honda CRV, that's what it was, Honda CRV. I pulled behind the bus, but when I get to my destination, then I had to drive in that thing. It beats you to death with that short wheelbase and everything. They don't ride that great, and the RAV4 is the same way. Anything you start getting a shorter wheelbase, you start suffering when it comes to the ride quality. No one will understand what we're going to do. Okay. CRV. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I've got to find a place, hide with my baby by my Give me some more lyrics. Toyota does have a bit of a version of the Lexus LS350. It's called the Highlander. There you go. Highlander. Yeah, but it would probably be too big for them too. If it's too big, it's too big. So, interesting dilemma. What does she get that's small? And she likes the convertible. Why doesn't she get another Mini? My father has a 2007 CRV. Loves it. Yeah. Yeah, they'll just beat you to death, though. I mean, they won't ride like even my Prius rides a lot better. I mean, it rides great compared to what the CRV did. So anyway. All right, well, we're going to wrap this puppy up. Put any comments, questions, anything down in the chat, and then we'll wrap this up. I actually had a late lunch today, and then, like I said, I had to do this emergency broadcast to get some things straightened out here on the channel. And that's what we did. So hopefully Steve will be doing a broadcast this week. He says he's going to try, so give him some encouragement. Carlos has a 2010 CRV and is fine. I will change it in 4 years when my son is 16 years old. And he will receive the CRV, I guess is what you're saying. Yeah, well, the advantage to the CRV is, like I say, you can tow them, you can flat tow them. At least you could mine. I don't know if they changed that or not. There was a little procedure you would go through. I'd put it in, I'd put it in drive, neutral, reverse, and then back to neutral, and then turn off the key, and then I could, flat tow it with no real problems. And I flat towed it quite a bit behind the motor coach, and it did fine. It was a trooper. All right, I'm going to wrap this puppy up and get back in touch with Audrey and see what's up with her. See here. What do we got going on here? I got to get into this program here again. Connection lost, all this stuff. This Video Pro, it does a good job encoding the video. That's why you get a pretty high quality stream, because I'm at 1080p right now, 5.3 megabits per second. So it does a good job encoding and everything, but it's kind of finicky. And they've always been that way. They've always been kind of finicky. And that's why they get kind of bad reviews a lot of places. But here's the thing. I haven't found anything that does a cleaner job as far as the encoding once it's actually working, right? In other words, once you get past the finickiness of it and you actually get the broadcast going, it does a pretty good job encoding. I think it does a better job than any of the software encoders. Like if you use OWC, or you use, what's that other one? Anyway, I forget the names of the different ones. But any of those software encoders that you run on your computer, I don't think you get the quality that you get out of this thing. Let's see here. Since Brooks Many likes to post lyrics so much, I just introduced him to the 90s hip-hop sensation known as MC Hammer. Jeez. Don't put me on a timeout. Okay. We won't put you on a timeout. Why were you put on a timeout? Did you misbehave? You shouldn't misbehave on this channel. This channel is for people that don't misbehave. And some idiot put a negative comment on my Frederick County Facebook page, And, you know, I just blocked them from the page. I'm like, here's the thing. If you don't like the page, go somewhere else. There's a million places to go. Just like if you don't like this channel, my gosh, there's hundreds of thousands of YouTube channels out there. My goodness. Go somewhere where you like the environment, right? You know, just move along. Nothing to see here, right? That's the way that is. So, oh, by the way, have any of you all watched the series Lucifer? Lucifer on Netflix? Because the lead actress, I think her last name's German or whatever. I mean, she's 40 years old now, I think, and I don't know how old she was during the series, but late 30s, something like that, up to 40. She looks like Audrey 10 years from now. I mean, she looks so much like Audrey Scherer. It's insane. I think if you took Audrey right now, I think Audrey's 29 or something now. If you took and you added 10 years to her age, it would almost look like that lead actress in Lucifer, right? That series on Netflix. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. I think it's a pretty cool series. I've watched a few of the shows, and I think it's pretty cool. And it's cool to watch her. Those eyes, and I mean, she just looks very much like Audrey. Finally, a later time when I can catch one of the shows live, Tom Austin, and we're getting ready to wrap up, Tom. Jeez, sorry. I'll do a later show sometime. Put any questions in the comments, Tom, since you just came in. Put any questions in here because we're almost ready to wrap up. Darn. My British semi-detached house was built in the 30s. Oh, cool. No, Lucifer pops up in my recommended interests from Netflix. Yeah, you might want to take a look at it. It's kind of a fun show. I kind of think it's kind of cool. And like I say, I like it because she's in it and she looks a lot like Audrey. I have to leave. Thank you, Craig, for all your answers. Bye, you all. Carlos in the house. Absolutely. My sister has a 2013 Vauxhall Astra. I'm not sure what that is. Sounds very exotic. I've heard good things about Lucifer. I'm watching Dark Crystal at the moment. Okay. My GS tells me it's 6:25 a.m. here. Wow. Wow. Tom's getting an early start. Dark Crystal seems very odd. Okay. Yeah, I haven't checked that out. I don't watch too much Netflix anymore. I actually almost was getting to the point where I was going to cancel it because I wasn't watching it that much. But then I said, well, I better keep it around. Then I discovered Lucifer, and I've been watching that. So I think I'll keep it around a little while longer. But there's so much on YouTube to watch. It's insane. I mean, I subscribe to a number of channels. Any of you guys subscribe to Super Yacht Captain? His videos are cool. He's a captain on a super yacht, right? And he does all kinds of cool videos about different things going on with the yacht and where they are, and they're always on all these exotic locations. That's pretty cool. I watch that, Super Yacht Captain. I watch another guy that travels all over in his Jeep. I like his videos. Let me see if I can find a couple of these that I'll tell you about. Broaden your horizons, folks. It's not all just about watches. I also watch the Crypto Zombie sometimes. He's pretty cool. He does a show every freaking day about crypto, mainly Bitcoin. There's no reason to buy anything but Bitcoin. So Super Yacht Captain. Oh, Curtis Judd. Curtis Judd, Judd. He's really good on like audio and lighting and different camera type stuff. He's got a great channel. Let's see what other ones are on here that I can mention to you. There's a lot of camera ones in here. Cinema 5D. I mean, you guys wouldn't be interested in all of that stuff very much, but I'm just looking through my history here to see. There's a lot of iJustine, of course. She's always fun. I don't know if you guys subscribe to iJustine. I worked with her many, many years ago. She did a video for a client of mine many years ago when she was first getting started, when she was still in Pittsburgh. Trying to see what else. Oh, Philip Bloom, he always puts out some really good stuff. But again, that's camera-related stuff. I'm trying to find this guy that goes around in the Jeep. Oh, and Light Bright, by the way, they're fun. She's hot. The one in Light Bright. They go around in their Jeep and do outrageous stuff. It's a couple, husband and wife. And I'm trying to find UCAR, YOUCAR. They put out some pretty wild stuff. If you like the wild automotive stuff. And it just goes on and on. I mean, there's just so many. There's some documentary channels that I subscribe to. There's this one channel called Proper People that he goes, it's usually two guys, and they go and they explore like abandoned like factories and like really wild stuff. It's called Proper People. That's pretty cool. The one with the Jeep, the couple in the Jeep, and they put a Hemi in their Jeep, V8 Hemi. It's called Light Bright, LITEBRITE. They're pretty cool. So, okay, so we're going to wrap this up. Let me just make sure I see what we've got here in the comments. Chevy Astra. I just finished Ash versus Evil Dead and thought it was awesome. Let's see here. Okay. What is Chevy SS? Okay. All right. Okay. So I think we're caught up. I'm going to wrap this puppy up. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you click subscribe, click the little bell, all that good stuff. I find a Rolex and GS in a collection complement each other very well. Well, there you go. Absolutely. Rolex. I think a great rotation would be this GS diver for sport and a Rolex Date 8, either 36 mil or 40, either one, doesn't make any difference, and a Rolex Date 8 for dress. I think that'd be a perfect two-watch rotation. Both watches being very heavy duty, heavy use, waterproof, all that good stuff, shock resistant, everything. So, I mean, both watches would be fantastic. So there you go. That would be a great two-watch rotation. That actually was my two-watch rotation for a while until I sold the Date 8. I was rotating it in with this. So there you go. And one advantage to having this on rotation with it is the spring drive doesn't require as much wrist movement to wind, so it doesn't require as much wrist time during the day to keep running day after day, right? The Date 8 was a little bit of a wrist hog. You had to wear it about 7 hours or so a day to keep that puppy going. But this one, maybe only 3 or 4 hours a day, would do the trick. Okay. All right. And I don't know why that one was held for review. We're going to show that one. Okay. I go with an Explorer and an 005 GMT. Exactly. Well, the advantage to the 9F movement watch is you can leave it off wrist for 2 or 3 days and it doesn't make any difference. It just keeps running. So you don't have to worry about rotating it onto your wrist enough to keep it running. So that's the huge advantage to having one watch that's basically mechanical, which is what this watch is. It's basically mechanical because it's winding from the movement of my hand, right? And one that's quartz that doesn't need any wrist time. So that's a big advantage if you don't want to have to hassle with rotating them on and off your wrist a lot. And I don't like that, having a watch winder. I don't think that's a good move. So, all right, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks everybody again for watching, and carry on. Have a great week.